best tag team in the world versus a couple of singles wrestlers. Here we go again.
If you remember back to Revolution last year, the Bucks faced two extraordinarily talented singles competitors, Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, and they lost. Hangman and Omega retained, and they had a very successful title run, and the Bucks were just kind of left wallowing in their shadow.
Is that in the back of our minds? Are we thinking about that? Absolutely. How can you not? You don't want to repeat history, and I'm not ready to.
The Young Bucks have changed tag team wrestling around the globe in one form or another. They were the little engine that could, so to speak.
Man, it took us so long, longer than most people expected, for us to finally reach the top of the mountain and to win the AEW Tag Team Championship belts. It felt like us being back on the independents again, scratching and kind of clawing our way back to the top.
I think the Young Bucks have been re-energized. I think they've made specific changes in their game, and Lord knows they got plenty of motivation now to eliminate Jericho and MJF at Revolution.
MJF and Jericho are cut from the same cloth.
Oh man, two egomaniacs, two guys that think they can do whatever the hell they want. They tell the boss what they want to do and they clear it somehow, and we've had enough of it. We're sick of it.
I know that some of my peers are not sold of the genuality of the relationship between Jericho and MJF.
I'm going to put a personal slant on this. Chris Jericho is one of the greatest wrestlers ever.
What haven't I done? I'm asking you this.
Here's a guy who has won championship titles all over the world.
He's done everything.
Has his own podcast.
Rock and roll star.
He's a journeyman just like us.
Then you have his partner, who's a piece of shit.
So in other words, most people don't trust MJF.
Well, I mean, MJF is one of the best performers I've ever been in the ring with, ever worked with.
I don't know if you morons have realized this, but I'm 24.
Very much about himself.
I'm 24, and I am a top name in professional wrestling.
I think that Chris Jericho is the alpha male of the inner circle, but somebody forgot to tell MJF.
No, I've done that after being on TV for barely a year.
They are so much alike. It's like when you take the two poles of a magnet and you push them towards each other, they actually start pushing away from each other. And I think that's emblematic of Jericho's relationship with MJF.
I always knew from the start that having MJF as kind of one of the top lieutenants in the inner circle gave us an edge that nobody else has in AEW.
I've always been amazed at how they have coexisted with their strong personalities. You know, MJF is lucky that Chris Jericho likes him, because MJF can get an education of Chris Jericho that few people can offer.
This could have just been standard pro wrestling feud 101. You guys talk about how great you are, we talk about how great we are, and we go out and we go to battle and we have the big pro wrestling match. But then you made it personal.
The Inner Circle continuing the assault on Brandon Cutler, sending a message to the Young Bucks ahead of Revolution. And the Young Bucks hitting the ring. Oh, super kicks for Santana Ortiz.
Hey, Fox! Lucky boys up here!
Nick, yeah, look over here. We saw someone wandering around backstage before, and we wanted to know, does this belong to you?
Oh, no.
Huh? Does it belong to you? Huh? Come on, Papa, you son of a bitch. Look, it's your son, Nick. Aren't you proud?
Oh, no.
Aren't you proud? Wait, Papa Buck, that is so rude. How about Matt? Say hi to Matt for me. Better call a doctor. Or even better, come back here and pick up your trash. See you boys at Revolution. Let's go, come on, let's go.
MJF and Jericho have gone too far.
You know, everybody wants to talk about right or wrong. Is there a right and wrong when it comes to winning? Is there a right and wrong when it comes to getting inside the mind and the head of your opponent?
You better call a doctor, or more importantly, come back here and pick up your trash.
Yeah, I get it. What can I do to play mind games? Oh, I know. I'll attack their father, the guy who built us our very own professional wrestling ring when I was 16 years old and he was 12. Let's take him out.
I'd have to say that move right there is probably the greatest move in AEW history. It's not a Meltzer driver or a double knee to the face. It was taking out your father, watching the tears well up in your eyes as he's being taken away in an ambulance. That's gonna affect you way more than a super kick to your chin would.
I think a win for MJF and Jericho, it's as much of a boost as it is to an indictment to the tag team careers of the Young Bucks.
It's a lesson to show Matt and Nick that you don't know everything. You're not as good and as experienced as you think you are.
Obviously, Jericho and MJF are hoping these overwhelming actions will adversely affect Matt and Nick. I think it's going to backfire.
Now it's not just going to be a tag team match to see who the best pro wrestlers are. Now it's a fight.
Jericho and MJF had lit a fire that they cannot control.
Still to come, who is the favorite going into the Face of the Revolution ladder match? And who will walk away with a shot at the TNT Championship? Has the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley gone too far? And up next, we look at the big money match between Matt Hardy and Hangman Page. Don't miss AEW Revolution, live this Sunday, exclusively on pay-per-view.
Ladies and gentlemen, your main event tonight, scheduled for one fall, is for the All Elite Wrestling World Championship.
Boy, this has the big match feel. There's no question about that.
You know, they say styles makes fights, and these men are both amazingly gifted. Their track records speak for themselves. On any given night, they can beat anybody. Omega's more finesse. Moxley is a rattlesnake fist-wielding brawler.
Tiger Driver 98!
Oh, here we go.
Oh! Paradigm shifted those heaters!
For this moment, Don had been a guest of ours at the broadcast position. We didn't know he had a plan.
Don should have stayed away from the ring, and I get it. Oh, my God!
Disbelief, betrayal, shock, anger, all of those went through my head.
New champion!
All right, this has got stink all over it. I'm not sure on that night the better man won. Some say Omega stole the AEW title from Jon Moxley, and I can't argue that point.
This Tuesday, Impact Wrestling will tell you all about it, Marvin.
That son of a bitch.
Matt Hardy obviously is a very accomplished wrestler. He's had a historic career all around the world, and I grew up following him. Him and his brother were my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid. I looked up to him a lot, honestly. They were from North Carolina, an area near me. Their dad, a tobacco farmer like my dad. They did the backyard wrestling, indie wrestling, everything like I did it. They were just, man, the kind of people I thought I wanted to be like.
Matt Hardy, you know, he had this kind of independent developmental wrestling promotion in North Carolina called Omega, and very early on in Hangman Adam Page's career, he was booked by Matt Hardy. These are two men that have a lot of history going back over 10 years.
I've known Matt for a long time. When I was younger, he booked me for one of his Omega shows, I think for $50, and I don't even think he paid me half of that. So,
I wanted to come to AEW to have a clean slate and be creative and give back to the industry, and that is what I have been trying to do. It's what I've done with Private Party.
The King, Snoop! Look, guys, I got those contracts, man, and I'm so happy you guys have decided to go through with this. I promise you, you will not regret this decision.
I've helped them greatly. They have totally moved up to the next level because of me. And it's what I wanted to do with Adam Page, but he was just too dumb to accept my help.
Hangman Adam Page has gone through a lot. He was the first man to vie for the AEW Championship against Chris Jericho. He lost that.
Oh! Shoot us off fire! That's it! Chris Jericho is the first ever AEW World Champion.
He was a part of the Elite. He removed himself from that. He and Kenny Omega had a great run as tag team champions. Really, that match in Revolution a year ago was the greatest tag team match I'd ever called. So he had great runs, but he has had personal problems. I think he's tired of people taking advantage of him.
You know, it's his fault that the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and they all had a falling out. I'm sure it was. I mean, he's just this millennial who is just anxious and has confidence issues, and he has all the talent in the world. And I was the guy who could have helped him get his act together.
Big money, Matt, is all about that. Big money.
You guys want to become kings, right? Yeah. A king like Snoop? You gotta be a winner. Kings win, that's what they do.
It's not for me to say whether Hangman Adam Page should have joined the Dark Order.
What I'm here to ask you, to offer you, is that the Dark Order can protect you.
I appreciate the offer of friendship, but to be honest with you, I don't know if I'm really ready to join a cult right now.
He doesn't fit that. I mean, they are a bizarre group.
Will you join the Dark Order? I can't.
I don't know, maybe he could benefit from some sort of support. But I'm not so sure the Dark Order was the support that he needed.
I didn't really want to talk about Dark Order.
If you're not ready to fully commit, don't go there. And he didn't. But who's to say it couldn't happen down the road? In AEW, as we all know, anything can happen.
I've done the group thing before, and it didn't end well for me.
He might have a better chance of achieving his goal, the AEW World Championship, as a client of Matt Hardy than he would with the Dark Order.
Adam, I do not want anything from you. I do not want anything. But I want you to know that you're a good person and you deserve to be happy.
I was going to bring the best out of him. I was going to bring the most out of him. I was going to push him to new limits, new heights.
Yeah, Matt Hardy has given a lot of help to Private Party, and he thought he was going to give some help to Adam Page. But I think there's only one person that Matt Hardy truly wants to help, and that's himself.
And I figured with our history, I bet we'd have great chemistry together.
No. You invited me in here to dress. I'm not trying to get into another tag team. I'm not trying to sign one of your Carney contracts. Nothing like that.
I wanted him to sign a Matt Hardy contract where I was going to not only be his mentor, his agent, his life coach, his sensei. I was gonna do all those things, and all I wanted was a measly wee fee of 30%. That's nothing.
I think that Matt Hardy's concerns for Hangman Adam Page were about as legitimate as a $3 bill.
Matt Adam Page, buckshot lariat!
And there he goes. Matt tagged himself in, I think, didn't he?
He hooks the far leg.
He tagged himself in.
I think, like Private Party, Matt tried to take advantage of me. And I've been fooled once, right?
Look, at least let me take you out and let's celebrate our huge, majestic win last week.
I recruited and signed a lot of talents, but I don't think I ever got even drunk before I tried to get their name on the paper.
I think we have so much chemistry together. If you would just look at my deal and sign, I think I could make you millions upon millions of dollars for a small percentage, only 30% of your earnings. But I mean, when you make that much money, what's the difference?
I don't think that Matt Hardy ever had Hangman's best interests. I just think he wanted to make money off of it.
The reason why I wanted you here, cameraman, is to document this. When he sobers up, he might be angry, but it is now officially on record.
Hangman Adam Page got a college degree in 2 years. He's proven on that level, that playing field, he's a very intelligent young man. Hangman Adam Page outsmarted Matt Hardy, sit at that bar.
You gotta sign that bad boy too?
Of course,
Make it official?
yeah. I will execute this contract, and now it is so-and-so. You are going to be a billionaire.
Oh,
a billionaire.
Matt's a guy who, throughout his career, has had to reinvent himself dozens and dozens of times. And I think finally he's shown the world who he truly is, and that's a money-grabbing, carny, son of a bitch, piece of shit asshole. I don't know how good you read that contract.
Well, I didn't read it. I sent it straight to the lawyer.
I know.
He switched out the contract, and he tricked me. Someone who was trying to be generous and genuine to him, he tricked me.
This says that at Revolution, it's going to be Matt Hardy versus Hangman Adam Page. If I lose, you get 100% of all my earnings from the first quarter of 2021.
I think we might have a money match.
Matt versus Hangman Page should be one of the sleeper matches of the entire pay-per-view, in my view.
You chose the Dark Order over big money Matt Hardy. and now I'm gonna hurt you, Hangman, in more ways than you can imagine.
Oh, no! Good Lord!
I think it's really personal that Adam Page wants this all to stop and wants to be his own man.